Welcome back to OpenLine. We are talking about the move to privatize state facilities. Of course, that has generated a great deal of concern among state employees. We have with us Tennessee State Employees Association Randy Stamps, Government Affairs Director, and again, a great deal of concern about this whole process among state employees. Let's go back to the phones. And Bob. Hello, Bob.
Hello. I think it's a good program. It's time, to begin with, they still fuss at the state employees for trying to get food stamps and other social remedies. That's one thing. And privatization, it's not due to if that guard with the prison system could sue, you'd see those so-called profit disappear. A lot of it is set on profit margin for the people who have bonds and stocks, and that just, they're going to cut the employee and everybody else to get that. Don't get me wrong, I'm going to joke about this. I like Governor Putin there.
Okay. He mentioned prisons. I think he's against privatization. But what about the prison aspect of this? We do know a lot about TSEA. We've heard a lot about Corrections Corporation of America. What is your understanding of what's going on in that department?
Well, again, in July of last year, they signed a contract with Trousdale County, who had already arranged to have a contract with TSEA to finish building a facility there in Trousdale County. Now, that's about 2,900 inmates. That contract is for 5 years. They're paid for 90% bed occupancy, no matter how many inmates are there, and they're also given a 2.5% increase every single year added to the contract. So we, as the advocates for state workers, wonder how come it's okay to give TSEA a 2.5% raise every year and guarantee them that raise, yet you won't guarantee the state workers even a cost of living raise every single year. So we're concerned about that, and honestly, it's a loophole that they're taking advantage of because they're contracting with the county. It doesn't have to go through the legislature and be reviewed by the Fiscal Review Committee there. And it's also a loophole because the law says there will only be one TSEA facility in this state. So this will be the 4th facility owned by TSEA that is housing state prisoners.
Well, let's go to Dorothy. Hello, Dorothy.
Yes.
Hi, what's on your mind?
Okay. Everywhere I look, there are new apartment buildings going up. And I begin to wonder, who's paying for all this? Are you getting out-of-state workers? Because if you are not using the workers in Nashville or in Tennessee, you must be getting them from somewhere. The ones here in Tennessee are out of work, but there seems to be everybody else working on the building.
Okay,
and
now that's a different issue than this.
And the other concern I have is, if you privatize the prison system, you've got to guarantee that you're going to keep a certain amount of inmates there in order for them. Don't you see it's becoming a business?
Prison industrial complex, yes. Thank you, Dorothy. There's some interference there, but I understand what you're saying.
That is a very valid point about the prisons. In fact, there are religious organizations that have pointed that out, that you're certainly turning incarcerating people into a business, and there is a business motive, a profit motive, to have more and more people in the prison system. Now, we need to punish people that do wrong, but we don't need to have it incentivized by profit, and that's exactly, TSEA has actually spoken about that on their website, or written about it on their website, talking about what an opportunity it is for their stockholders to profit from the incarceration of Americans.
Let's take another call. Victor on line 2. Hello, Victor.
Yes, I'm sorry. I had called back earlier.
All right, go ahead.
I had realized, and I'm listening to this, but one thing that really irritates me is that Governor Haslam was in a little pickle with his pilot stations. Now, let me ask you something. What do you pay those people that work at pilot? Minimum wage? Yes.
I don't know. Some certainly, but there are others
I'm sure that because every time I go up to a pilot station in Dixon, there's somebody else out there, the trash cart, that looks like he ought to be homeless. So that's what I'm trying to say. He does not care about any worker or employee. I don't understand this state. I'm 62 years old, and I voted Democratic all my life. Because if you don't, the Republicans will take everything from you. I mean, that's just my opinion. I mean, I'm sure other people have different opinions about it. But
there are a large majority of people that do. And so the legislature is Republican. And you said at the top, he doesn't have to go through, Governor Haslam doesn't have to go through the legislature necessarily to do this. He does to get funding going forward. The notion, as another caller said, the notion of let's make government leaner, let's see what we can privatize, that is something that's embraced generally by Republicans. But with a very red state, a very Republican legislature, you feel like there might be people that will be sympathetic to what you're talking about in the legislature.
Yes, I know there are legislators that are sympathetic to that. Again, because they've seen the quality of service that our state workers provide, and they're impressed by that. And again, school systems have tried to do this. Tennessee Tech tried to do this. They returned back to state workers into county workers in the case of county government. I mean, we went through that in Sumner County, my home county, where we privatized the custodial work there. But it wasn't but a year or two that we went back to having those as employees. And the point about Pilot Oil is well taken. That is his field of expertise. That is the business that he has operated. It's been lower level workers receiving lower level pay. That mentality is dangerous, though, in state government, because we have Department of Human Service workers and Department of Children's Services workers out there that are overburdened with their case files, and they're dealing with people's lives. They're not dispensing or taking cash for gasoline. They're involved in people's lives. They're making sure that children are safe, and they're reviewing the homes to see if it's safe for a child to go back. Those are the kind of things that professionals do, and you pay professionals professional salaries, and you give them adequate benefits.
Let's go to Jim. Hello, Jim.
Hey, how you doing?
Great. What's on your mind?
I just want to say I think we're losing experienced, loyal, dedicated employees, at an alarming rate at the state. I don't know the specific numbers, but, I think they're currently extremely understaffed, results in more and more duties being placed on existing employees without any more money, and I think it results in reduced quality of service, for our citizens. We have corrections personnel being assaulted, roadways deteriorating, longer waits for critical services to poor and disadvantaged folks. Morale's at an all-time low. I think it all started, when state employees lost their civil service to the so-called preferred service model by the current administration. Since then, employees have lost many benefits that were very attractive for folks to seek and retain employment with the state. We have new hires no longer have any longevity bonuses. They have to fund their own retirement. There's inflated insurance premiums and deductibles, and it's just not attractive for folks to work for the state anymore. So,
okay, all right, thank you, Jim. Now, the flip side to that is that the workplace is changing everywhere, that benefits are being cut, the whole notion of civil service, perhaps some would argue needed to be reformed. It's certainly not something that you see in the private sector. You're seeing some of these same things in the private sector. So again, when you hear the other side to that we need to modernize, we need to do some of these things to I guess be more up to date or modernize or efficient. What do you say to that?
Well, again, and I want to correct a number I gave earlier. 700 people were eliminated in state government by the recent offer of the voluntary buyout by the governor. But we've eliminated 3,000 positions in state government since Bill Haslam took office. So that tells you that we've done a lot of what they're doing in the private sector. We have trimmed, we've taken advantage of technology that makes workers more productive. We've done all we can do. And as far as the benefits package goes, again, the reason they gave for reducing the benefits is they wanted to raise the pay of state workers, and yet they haven't done that yet, okay? So we're waiting for that promise to be fulfilled before we support any further reductions in the benefits of state workers.
And before you support, but that may happen whether you support it or not, right?
Well, again, I want to make this clear. The legislature has been our firewall in fighting back some of these ideas of the Haslam administrations. The ones that come most to mind, even the elimination of civil service, the legislature did help us keep a few safeguards. Again, he did that early. He's a skillful politician. He did that with his new majority when they had full trust in whatever he told them was accurate, and so they passed what's called the TEAM Act to eliminate civil service. But I think some legislators understand that we went too far. That happens often in government. We go too far in one extreme to one side rather than trying to find the middle. And so we feel like that's what's happening here with state workers, especially when it comes to the benefits packages. And again, you know, if he was truly paying folks more, that would be a different thing. But so far, we've only gotten half of the equation.
Let's go to John. Hello, John. John, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Go right ahead.
All right. Am I on TV?
You are.
Hello?
Hello, John.
Yeah, it's me, John. I'm here.
Okay. Well, hang in there. All right. We want to go to a story that Phil Williams did. He's talked to Governor Haslam about this. This was some back and forth he had with Governor Haslam. It was a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
So let's play that story, then we'll come back and talk about it.
But the easiest thing in government is to keep doing things the way you always have. Nobody ever says a word. But that's where money is wasted.
Tennessee Governor Bill Haslam's administration began the privatization push 2 years ago, outsourcing the management of state office buildings to Jones Lang LaSalle, handing the Chicago-based corporation a contract worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Now the state is asking private companies like JLL for information on the possible outsourcing of even more state facilities. Among them, the state's entire prison system, as well as potentially every single college and university building across Tennessee.
What is the specific problem you're trying to solve?
That's a really easy one. What we're trying to solve is we spend a lot of money on our facilities.
But are university buildings being poorly managed?
Well, that's one thing. We'll find that out.
But if you cannot point to a specific problem, why privatize?
You and others gave us a hard time when we looked at our office buildings before, but we're saving millions of dollars.
I showed you the slide where the projection was about $18.8 million.
In fact, as News Channel 5 Investigates first revealed, the Haslam administration had told lawmakers before the first round of outsourcing that JLL's estimate showed the, quote, expected results would be savings of $18.8 million a year, $94 million over 5 years. It's a number that a company official later admitted was way off.
That was never the intent of that study, was to say, here's what you can expect.
Expected doesn't mean expected.
A prime example, JLL projected it could find big savings by slashing security on state buildings by more than 90%.
That's not realistic, is it?
No. It's not. I don't think that will happen.
Our job in state government is to provide the very best services we can at the very lowest cost to taxpayers.
Still, we wanted to know where big corporations could find the savings that the Haslam administration thinks it can find this time.
I think what I'm trying to get at, Governor, can you point to any proof that money is being wasted?
I can show you that when we've changed things, we've saved money. So that's the same thing.
So what are your thoughts about that?
Well, the governor said he wants to provide the very best services, yet I don't think that happens. I don't think he can prove that. I'm anxious to see what proof he does have he claims to have, that we've saved money. Again, I'm anxious to see that. And Phil Williams also last night had the story about how the consultant that they've asked to study this issue actually said it's going to be hard to save money doing it in this area that they want to do it in. But here's the telling point. The folks he's got trying to convince people to do this see state government as an enterprise. That's a word out of their own communication. This is, to them, this is an enterprise. This is not an enterprise. This is government, and there are government services that have to be provided, and you just can't always do that and still leave room for a profit for your shareholders.
All right, we're going to take a break. We'll come back, continue the discussion. If you want to call, there's the number 615-737-PLUS, 615-737-7587. Take a break. We'll be back right after this.